First, while security and defense cooperation remains an important pillar, equal emphasis is being laid by both sides to strengthen cooperation in non-security areas. And these non-security areas include trade and investment, climate change, energy, health, agriculture, information technology, and tech sector. Second, the relationship now stands dehyphenated from all other bilateral ties. And both sides are focused on tapping the inherent potential of standalone bilateral relationship. These two transformations together provide us the ideal launching pad to enter a new era in our bilateral relationship. Over the decades, and more so in recent years, Pakistani-American community has also played a very important role in our efforts to build a strong relationship. I have served here twice, from 95 to 99, and then from 2013 to 2017, and I have seen that our community has, over the years, become very, very active. They have become active in politics. They are contributing to the economic growth of not only Pakistan, but also they are contributing to building a strong relationship between our two countries. And the role that they have played is something which is very well recognized by all of us in Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, economic development lies at the top of our national priorities. To achieve that, regional peace and stability are imperative. Peaceful neighborhood is also essential for us to optimally utilize the potential offered by the regional connectivity initiatives. There are a number of regional connectivity initiatives that we have already undertaken, and there are some which are in the pipeline. As far as Afghanistan is concerned, after Afghanistan itself, Pakistan has the greatest stake in an Afghanistan that is at peace within and with its regional and international partners. This objective lies at the heart of our efforts to directly engage with the Afghan interim government, as well as cooperate with the international community on Afghanistan. We are hosting close to 4 million Afghan refugees in Pakistan. And this is something that we have been hosting for the last almost 4 decades. Afghan authorities and the international community, they continue to work to ensure that these Afghan refugees, whenever the situation settles down, they go back to contribute to the economic development of their own country, which is Afghanistan. This is something that we feel proud of, because the number of refugees that we have hosted over the last several decades, that is perhaps unprecedented anywhere in the world. We also share the international community's concerns over human rights situation in Afghanistan, especially issues related to women's rights, girls' education, and women's employment. We will continue to raise these issues with the Afghan interim administration. We believe that instead of coercive measures, engaging the Afghan interim government is much more likely to deliver results. Equally important is to avert humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan. For that purpose, I think delinking aid from political considerations holds the key in this regard. We remain steadfast in our commitment to fight terrorism and extremism. We condemn all forms and manifestation of terrorism, including state terrorism and state-sponsored violence against religious minorities. We also reject any attempt to politicize the issue of terrorism by linking it with certain countries, communities, regions, or religions. The entire global community is the victim, and we have to act together to uproot this menace. For Pakistan, the biggest concern right now is the enhanced terrorist threat from TTP and ISK and their ability to use Afghan soil for launching attacks against Pakistan. We remain closely engaged with the Afghan interim administration on this issue. While we are committed to fighting and defeating the terrorists, we wish to highlight that terrorist outfits trying to gain a foothold in Afghanistan should be treated as a threat to the neighborhood and the entire international community. Pakistan desires peaceful and cooperative neighborly ties with India. Unfortunately, Pakistan's positive outreach and peace overtures, including the opening of Kartarpur corridor for visa-free visits from India, from Indian Sikh community into Kartarpur, and my predecessor's visit to India for the SCO meeting have been met with negativity. India's illegal actions in the occupied Jammu and Kashmir and abhorrent human rights violations of innocent Kashmiris at the hands of Indian security forces have further deteriorated relations between our two countries. Worsening religious extremism in India, especially against Muslims, has further complicated the situation. In such a complex environment, objectives of regional peace and stability calls for peaceful, constructive dialogue on all outstanding issues, including Jammu and Kashmir. India's belligerence and anti-Pakistan theatrics for domestic elections are taking us further away from this objective. Pakistan's relations with China are historical and anchored in strong trade and economic ties. China is Pakistan's largest trading partner and a major investor, especially in infrastructure and energy sectors. China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is a flagship project that aims at enhancing connectivity and improving infrastructure. I must underscore that Pakistan's relationship with China are not a zero-sum game and not at the expense of our relations with any other country, least of all with the United States of America, with which we have robust ties and a relationship of trust. We believe we can have close and cooperative relations with both the United States and China. Having acted as a bridge between the two countries in the past, we remain convinced that a stable and cooperative relationship between US and China is imperative for global growth, development, and security. Pakistan's position on the Ukrainian crisis is dictated by our belief in amicable resolution of conflicts and respect for the UN principles and territorial integrity and sovereignty. We will continue to play a constructive role to help end the war and mitigate the sufferings of the Ukrainian people. We hope that peace would prevail to allow people of both Russia and Ukraine to enjoy its dividends. We also believe that mitigating the impacts of this crisis on global food and energy security is critical, and hope for early resumption of Black Sea grain initiative. We recognize the importance of international cooperation for global peace and prosperity. To this end, Pakistan has always been a strong advocate for multilateralism, believing that through dialogue and diplomacy, we can resolve conflicts, alleviate poverty, and achieve sustainable development. We have been actively involved in the United Nations peacekeeping missions, contributing our troops to promote peace in conflict-ridden areas. Pakistan also considers arms control, disarmament, and non-proliferation efforts as vital tools to promote the goals of peace and security at the global and regional levels. Pakistan has always advocated the need for inclusive forums for deliberations and negotiations, taking into account the security interests of all states. Pakistan has been a leading voice for the reforms of the Security Council to make it more democratic, inclusive, and accountable through reforms of its membership and improvement in its working methods. Climate change is another pressing global challenge. As last year's devastating floods bear testament, Pakistan has been on the receiving end of the worst impacts of climate change, despite being one of the lowest contributors to global warming. We are doing our part to combat it by investing, with the help of our friends like the United States of America, in reconstruction, tapping renewable energy, reforestation, and sustainable agriculture practices. Ladies and gentlemen, we are committed to moving our economy to macroeconomic stability. And the good news is that since May of this year, the macroeconomic indicators in Pakistan, they have improved significantly. CPI index, which stood at 38% in May this year, has come down to 27%. We have also embarked upon an ambitious program to raise taxes, and the taxation system has also been reformed in recent months. And the dividends of these reforms will be apparent very, very soon. We are also introduced a special program for investment in Pakistan, which is known as Special Investment Facilitation Council. The idea basically behind this initiative is to cut the red tape and introduce a kind of a real one-window operation for investors to invest in Pakistan. This new concept has generated a lot of interest, particularly amongst the GCC countries. And in the last 1 month, we have signed agreements with investors from the Middle Eastern countries under this program, almost close to about $35 billion. The investment is coming in sectors like agriculture, information technology, energy, mines and minerals, and defense production. All these areas are up for investment for overseas investors, and the response has been extremely positive from our point of view. We are also training we have set up new IT training centers in Pakistan, and we hope to produce about 200,000 IT experts every year, which would, from a conservative estimate, will take our IT exports from the current level of $2.5 billion to almost $10 billion in the next 4 to 5 years. One important factor that has been introduced is the fiscal discipline. So that is something that is being seriously taken by all of us. Of course, problems are there because of the inflationary pressure, because of the prices of fuel and gas in the international market, which also creates its own dynamics in Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by reiterating that Pakistan is committed to playing its part in the Committee of Nations to address the pressing challenges of our times and realize its vision for peace, stability, justice, equity, and shared prosperity. I thank you all.
वज़ीर ख़ारजा जलील अब्बास जिलानी का एशिया से खिताब। उन्होंने कहा कि दुनिया में बेशतर मुल्कों को मुतादिद चैलेंजों का सामना है। पाकिस्तान इलाकाई रवाबत बढ़ाने में दिलचस्पी रखता है। पाकिस्तान पड़ोसी मुल्क अफगानिस्तान में अमन का ख्वाह है। पाकिस्तान ने 40 लाख अफगान महाजरीन की मेज़बानी की। उन्होंने कहा कि पाकिस्तान हर तरह की दहशत गर्दी की मजम्मत करता है।